All right, so get this. Italy just banned a super popular AI chatbot called DeepSeek.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I know, right? It's the first country to do something like this.
Huh. That's pretty big. What's the deal with this DeepSeek thing anyway?
Well, it was actually giving ChatGPT a run for its money.
Oh, wow. So this wasn't some, small-time app.
Not at all. It was climbing the App Store charts and even bragging about being more efficient and using less data than its rivals.
So why the ban? What's Italy's beef?
It all boils down to data and privacy.
Yeah, those Europeans are pretty serious about that stuff.
Yeah, they have those strict GDPR laws over there.
Right, those are the ones that give you more control over your data and how companies can use it.
Exactly. And Italy's data protection authority, called the Garante, they're like the watchdogs making sure companies aren't messing around with our data.
So the Garante basically said, hey, DeepSeek, what are you doing with all this user data?
Pretty much. They wanted to know exactly what personal data they're collecting, where it's coming from, how they're using it, what legal basis they have for doing all this, and if any of that data is being sent back to China where DeepSeek was developed.
Makes sense. Those are pretty standard questions for any company handling user data, right?
Totally. Especially in Europe with GDPR.
So how did DeepSeek respond?
They did, but get this, the Garante called their responses totally insufficient.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it's like they got called out for not being upfront about their data practices.
So what happened next? Did DeepSeek try to clear things up?
Nope. The Garante wasn't messing around. They immediately blocked DeepSeek from being downloaded in Italy.
Whoa, seriously? Like straight up banned?
Gone poof, vanished from the App Store and Google Play. No more downloads in Italy.
That's a pretty bold move. It shows they're not taking this data privacy stuff lightly.
No kidding. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. It's a full-on shutdown.
So what does this mean for DeepSeek? Are they in trouble?
Well, for starters, it's a huge hit to their reputation.
Yeah, imagine you're an investor and you see this hot new AI company suddenly getting banned in a major market.
You'd probably be rethinking that investment pretty quickly.
Absolutely. It raises all sorts of red flags about their data practices.
And here's the kicker. DeepSeek hasn't said a word about any of this.
Really? They've been totally silent.
Crickets, nothing. Just makes the whole thing even more suspicious.
Right, yeah, it makes you wonder what they're hiding.
Totally. And in the meantime, the Garante is digging deeper. They've launched a full-blown investigation into DeepSeek's data practices.
Wow, so this isn't over yet.
Not even close. This is just the beginning.
I'm hooked. This is getting good.
Me too. Let's take a step back for a second, though. What exactly is DeepSeek? Like, what made it so popular in the first place?
Yeah, good point. I'm curious about that, too.
So what is DeepSeek?
Well, DeepSeek, it's basically a chatbot.
Like a smarter Siri or Alexa?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it uses AI to understand and respond to your questions. It can do all sorts of things, like write different kinds of creative text formats.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like poems, code scripts, musical pieces, emails, letters, you name it.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, and it can answer your questions, too, even if they're open-ended, challenging, or strange.
So it's like having a walking, talking encyclopedia in your pocket.
Exactly.
So what made DeepSeek so special? Why were people going crazy for it?
Well, aside from all that stuff I just mentioned, its developers claimed it was super efficient.
Efficient? How so?
Well, they said it could do all these amazing things while using less data and computing power than its competitors.
Oh, so less data, more power. Why is that such a big deal in the AI world?
Because data is the lifeblood of AI. The more data an AI has to learn from, the better it can perform.
Oh, I see.
But gathering and processing all that data, it can be super expensive and resource intensive.
So DeepSeek was promising to do more with less. And that's probably why it started climbing the App Store charts, surpassing ChatGPT.
Right. People love efficiency.
Especially when it comes to tech.
Exactly. And it was seen as a potential game changer, especially in the European market, where data privacy regulations are really strict.
Which makes this whole ban in Italy even more interesting. You'd think a company that prides itself on data efficiency would be extra careful about following those regulations.
You would think so, wouldn't you? But the Garante's findings suggest that DeepSeek might not have been completely truthful about their data practices, or that they were cutting corners in ways that violated GDPR.
It's almost like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. Promote themselves as being data efficient while potentially mishandling user information behind the scenes.
Yeah, it does make you wonder. But it highlights a crucial point about this AI revolution we're experiencing.
What's that?
Just because a technology is impressive or innovative doesn't mean we should overlook the potential ethical and legal implications. especially when it comes to our personal data.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype, but we need to be careful.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly trust these AI tools.
So for those who aren't as familiar with the European Union's data privacy laws, can you break down why exactly are the Grante's actions such a big deal?
Sure. So basically the EU, they wanted to give people more control over their online data and how it's used.
Right.
So they created GDPR, which sets strict rules about how companies can collect, store, and use personal information.
And if companies don't follow the rules?
They can face hefty fines. We're talking billions of euros.
Wow. So when the Grante takes action, like banning an app, it means they're serious.
Very serious.
This ban, it's a shot across the bow, not just for DeepSeek, but for the entire AI industry.
Precisely. And it sets a precedent that other countries might follow. We could see a wave of new regulations and stricter enforcement when it comes to AI and data privacy.
Which could have a major impact on how these technologies are developed and deployed in the future.
Absolutely. Companies can't just focus on innovation and performance anymore.
They need to prioritize data privacy and transparency right from the start.
Exactly. They need to be thinking about data privacy as a core feature, not an afterthought.
Okay, so this ban is a big deal for the tech world. But what about the everyday users, like me and you?
Well,
What does this mean for us?
I wouldn't say freaking out is necessary,
Okay.
but it is a good time to be more mindful and discerning about the AI technologies we use and the data we share.
So, like, what can we do to protect ourselves? Besides, becoming hermits and living off the grid.
Well, there are less drastic measures you can take.
Like what?
Well, for starters, be more selective about the apps and services you use.
Okay.
Do your research. Read the privacy policies.
Ugh, I know they're long and boring.
I know. But it's worth it to understand how your data is being handled.
Okay, fair enough. What else?
And be mindful of the information you share online. Think twice before posting sensitive personal details or granting apps access to your contacts location or microphone.
Because once that data's out there, it's hard to control.
Exactly. And if you're unsure about how an AI tool is using your data, don't hesitate to reach out to the company and ask for clarification.
Good point. So it's about being an informed and empowered user.
Exactly. We can't just passively accept whatever these tech companies throw at us. We need to be proactive.
Okay, I like that. So we've got this intriguing mystery surrounding DeepSeek's data practices. But let's zoom out for a moment and consider the bigger picture. What does this ban signal about the future of AI, particularly in Europe?
Well, I think it's a clear sign that European regulators are not going to hesitate to take a hard line when it comes to AI and data privacy.
They're setting a high bar for the rest of the world.
Precisely. And it raises an interesting question. Could this lead to a kind of digital divide, where different regions have different rules and regulations for AI?
Ooh, that's a thought-provoking question.
It is. It highlights the importance of global cooperation when it comes to AI governance.
Otherwise, we risk stifling innovation.
Right.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, but before we wrap up, I'm curious, what about all those investors who were so excited about DeepSeek? Yeah, what are they thinking now? Are they freaking out or what?
Well, I imagine some investors are definitely hitting the panic button and pulling out, but others, they might see this as a temporary setback. Maybe they're hoping DeepSeek can clean up their act and get back into Italy's good graces.
That's a gamble, though, right? Especially with that investigation still going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a risky move.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the nature of investment sometimes. High risk, high reward.
True. But it makes you wonder what's happening behind closed doors at DeepSeek. Are they scrambling to fix things, or are they just hoping this whole thing blows over?
Who knows? Maybe they're lawyering up and getting ready for a fight. Or maybe they're genuinely trying to improve their data practices. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
I guess so. But one thing's for sure, this whole DeepSeek situation, it's a wake-up call for the AI industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a reminder that data privacy can't be an afterthought. It has to be a top priority from day one.
No more cutting corners.
Nope. The stakes are too high.
So for our listeners out there, what's the big takeaway from all of this? What should they remember about this whole DeepSeek saga?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed and stay engaged. Don't just blindly trust these AI companies. Do your research, ask questions, and make sure you're comfortable with how your data is being used.
Don't be afraid to speak up.
Exactly. The future of AI, it's being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in making sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
Well said. This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI data privacy and the challenges of balancing innovation with responsibility.
It really has. We've covered a lot of ground.
And we've learned a lot along the way. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world of tech and innovation. Until then, stay curious and stay informed.